Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to another FU Pay Me replay review. This time, we're going to be looking at TCOP 969. Speaking of the man, he does put out his own cast on YouTube, and I want you all to go down into the link below and click it and give him a subscription and a watch and tell him what you like and don't like about his content. Give the man some real feedback. Starting out on this map, we're playing Pyramid. He is a 669 rated player on the 4v4 team matchmaker ladder. And we're going to see what he does, what we think he could have done better, what we think he did well, and what we want to see moving forward from this player. And I want to say thank you to him. The way he got to be reviewed in a replay is by joining the channel membership, which is the button down below where you can do that. And with my shilling out of the way, likes, comment, subscribe, and let's get into it. His start is the oh-so-standard for Pyramid, Hydro Rush. I don't know if I like the placement of this factory. Personally, I don't know. I think if you're gonna go for something like this, you should just put the factory up here on this side of the mix, so that way you could get something adjacent to the Hydro if you felt like it. But to each his own. It's not a huge issue, and you can always reclaim a factory later and move it if you want adjacency with something. So I shouldn't be complaining too much about that. He's getting multiple engineers out. Having an engineer set to assist the comm. I think that this right here is our first mistake, and we have to ask that also important question in these replay reviews. Why are you doing what you're doing? You need to think about what you're doing. This map is Pyramid. Are you going to forfeit? Like, literally, we'll zoom in super far, way farther than is needed. You're gonna give up 1400 mass because you getting here late means that you could get pushed off of this. I think that the correct way to open this is you have two options, and it depends on how greedy you are. Either factory and walk, which is option one, and that's not the one I would personally do, but Hydro Rush and walk is what I would do. I think that right now TCOP should be sending his comm to the middle, and on top of that, his comm is about to cause him to be in a mass stall. If he just had a couple of engineers working on this at the base, and just had a few more engineers at the main base helping him, that would be better. He's doing Engineer Mantis build order. Personally, I feel like your first factory can wait even a little bit longer than he has with it, but I think getting early units is fine. It's a good idea, and it'll help him, but this entire early unit spam thing completely contradicts keeping the comm at home. The comm should be walking right now to the middle. Having engineers expand is nice and all, but you your stuff going, and also he's just super light on the engineers. It's almost 3 minutes and he's on 4 engineers. As I said, I just don't think this is the right call. I think the comm should have been walking. He should have continued engineer production for a little bit longer. If he was worried about units coming in, build a couple of Mantis. Engineer Mantis over and over is not going to do well for him. He still has this engineer assisting the comm, which is a mistake. This engineer should be building factories or power generators or anything really. He's overbuilt power and he's not getting anything to use it. So it's a bit strange. I don't know what his plan is. We're back to the planning thing. Right now, he has 2 land factories, a comm walking, and a bunch of engineers that seem like they have a vague direction, and that direction is move forward and take mexes. But are you going for spam? Are you going to try and get teched up early? Are you going to be trying to go for a heavy eco play? What are you doing? And whatever it is, it should be way more clear. Every decision should be made to achieve your goal. If your goal is to win early and get map control and use that to transition into a winning state on this map, then you failed by not sending the comm out early. If your goal was to eco or to get a lot of unit spam and sacrifice some map control to make sure you have more units whenever you do walk forward, you failed on that because you only built 2 factories and you don't even have a hint that you're building a 3rd, and you're going to get out spammed very easy. Is your goal to eco really hard? Well, you're doing all right, but you need more engineers to do that. Just have engineers assist the mexes that are upgrading. I like the radar, but yet again, just or you have to decide basically before you get in the match. Am I playing spam? Am I playing high? Am I going to play a high tempo, like trying to rush into tech of some kind of technology that will make will be a trump card or something? Because right now you're doing a whole lot of things that are leading nowhere. You're spending your mass, which is good. You're balancing your eco, but very soon you're not going to be able to. You need more factories, or you need to start more mechs upgrades. But starting more mechs upgrades doesn't do much for you if you can't spend the mass after they're done upgrading. You need more build power, and you need to decide what you're going to do. Make a decision. That decision should be more factories is good, or some kind of tech. As I said, some kind of tech. You could tech up to tech 2 land. Go for something on the comm right now, because you've seemingly been on a strong enough economy for a bit. You're starting to power stall. I'm wondering where that's coming from. I think that might be coming from the mechs upgrade. The good news is you're going to have a pretty early mechs. 5.5 minutes having a T2 mechs. Not that horrible. I mean, not the fastest. Not horrible. You're getting up another factory, but I think you're going to overflow mass here in a second. I don't see how you intend to spend your mass. And overflowing mass has more implications than you're just not spending your mass and people. You're going to have to rely on your teammates to spend it for you. You're in the middle. You need to be reclaiming. You need to find ways to spend this. You should have already had a plan for spending this reclaim. So, I mean, I guess not walking to the middle was okay, since you didn't really have a way to spend the mass even if you did reclaim all of it. Also, another tip with your comm really quick. Control shift. If you want this circle thing that I have called additional camera stuff, it's a mod in the vault. It's super easy to get, but you right click and you press E and you click on all of the rocks. You can hold control shift while you do it. See it? Hold shift and you click all of the rocks after giving a move command, and that will allow you to reclaim all of this faster than pretty much anything else in the game, especially with the ACU, and that's probably what you should be doing here. Starting to walk forward, you do have a radar, but you're stalling power because you got a Tech 2 radar. This Tech 2 radar, you couldn't afford it. Maybe if you got adjacency, you could have. A lot of people harp on people for building T1 radars with 4 power generators, but I do that all the time because if I want to upgrade that radar, I want it to be more efficient. So, yeah, you can't afford that 150 power bill off of that radar, and that means that the radar may as well not exist. You turn it off and solve your power stall until you finish up a few more P-gens. You're gonna get out of it. You do respond. You do realize you're in a power stall and immediately start spam 1 power. You have another T2 mechs on the way. There's still... I'm not seeing you go for anything like where is the T2 factory? Oh, there it is. You're just now starting it. But I just want to pause really quick and point out something. So you're up against somebody who's... We'll look at Wednesday. Wednesday is a good example of how to play how to have a direction with playing a landing. Because Wednesday is a pretty decent player. He's about at my level, and you're gonna see that he has a bit of a direction. But I'm just trying to give you an example. So Wednesday, he really likes to go for tech plays. He really likes to tech up. He's not generally the type of player to sit back and spam. He's not really playing a spam game this time, and we're going to just slow this down a bunch so we don't. But he is sitting currently on 4 factories, and he is going for a concerted tech play. You can see that he's heavily assisting a T2 factory. He's about to finish Tech 2 land at about 7.5 minutes. Let's compare that to TCOP, who is sitting on 4 factories as well. But you're 11% on a mech on this upgrade. You have 2 T2 mechs. Wednesday has, I think, 4. Wednesday has 5 T2 mechs. He's expanded out a lot more heavily, and admittedly, this is more of a carry role. He has more mechs available to touch, but he is both being aggressive in map control, trying to take over the map, trying to be on the map. And he's going for a tech play. He came into this game with the plan of getting to Tech 2 land, and he's probably going to push the issue at T2. You need to have an idea of when you want to fight. How early do you want to get into the fighting, and how early do you want to try and win? Right now, not much of a direction, not really focusing on much. So just you gotta decide what you want to do and what you like to do. Me personally, I like to play T1 really greedy. I like to be a very greedy player. Go for reclaim, go for a lot of spam, and then I like to cut off my spam, do a lot of reclaiming of my own factories, and just skip Tech 2 and go to T. That's how I personally like to play, and you'll see me do that in a lot of games where I completely skip the T2 phase of the game. I decide to throw everything into eco, and once I've secured a small front, just go Tech 3 and skip Tech 2. That's what I do a ton of the time. But also, I like playing a Tech 2 kind of pressure style as well. You can play multiple styles, but you need to decide how you're going to play before you go into the game. Because to me, it seems obvious that you're winging it. And if you want to improve, winging it isn't really going to help you all that much. You can't be winging a build order. You can't be winging everything if you're looking to improve. If you're just looking to have fun, I get that. And I know that this replay review series isn't, not everybody here is, most of the people here are just trying to support me and they're not worried about massive improvement. But this is for something to, I'm trying to create a resource here for anybody to learn. You don't need to be a Patreon or a channel member to watch this video and take something from it. And on top of that, I'm not a good player. I'm just good at identifying things that need to happen, because I don't do all the things I preach. You go watch my streams, and you can make the same criticisms about me. So, this is just trying to point out the things you have to do to try and be a much higher rated player. Speed and range is I think, a good call. I think going for speed and range here, you see your opponent has some units here, but how you use it is going to matter a lot. Are you about to herp-a-derp all of these fucking mantis into the enemy before your comm gets up to them? Because if you are, that's dumb. But it looks like you're doing the right thing. It looks like you're going to throw your comm out in front of your own units, and you're just going to start firing some shots out here. You just want to try and abuse that range you have on the comm now. Man, that scout got lucky, dodged like 6 or 7 shots. And this is how you use a gun comm. You force them to walk backwards or walk into you. If they walk into you, you should just have an advantage because you've killed some of their units. And you just keep doing this, and this is pretty good use of a gun comm. I approve. I think you've already probably paid off the mass cost, because I don't think you had any kills on this comm beforehand. And whoop. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, everybody. I accidentally clicked off the game. It's 800 mass cost, you're up to 700 mass killed. You just have to kill a couple more units and you've made that super worth it as far as upgrades go. Up here to the north, you can see, not really a snipe attempt, but you can see that your opponent, Wednesday over here, who's somewhat close to where you are, has a lot of units. You have to keep in mind that he is over here and he is still a threat to you, even though he's not your direct mirrored opponent. And, you're T2, but it feels like you're T2 slower than everybody else. And what I mean by that is you're slower than your allies. Your allies already have Ilshivas on the front lines. They have pillars showing up on the front lines. Wednesday, I'm sure, we can't see it right now, but I'm sure Wednesday has some T2 around this area. If we go observer, I'm sure we'll see, yep, T2 units starting to flow out. You just finished a Rhino and you have a couple of T2 engineers, but you were just a little bit slower with everybody else, and that was just because you didn't come into the game with a decision made on how you wanted to do this. It seems most of the players this game, nobody really went all in on the T1 spam game. Nobody went up to like 9 or 10 factories, which you sometimes see on this map. But overall, as I said, you have to make that decision. You're being pressured now by Wednesday, and you're being pressured here in the middle by Splashy Horse. What I usually like to do in this situation, and I think you're doing it, is just go for one of the armies and kill it, and killed off the army of Wednesday fighting you. Right here, you can see T2 PD. It's time to just back up, because there's too many choke points here. You're not going to be able to deal with it. But your units, this is an overcommitment. You're walking into T2 PD. You're not going to get a significant enough run by unless maybe you run this direction, but that's super risky. You're risking this entire T1 force, and you're getting pressured now on the south. You have some rhinos in the back, but it's going to take a while before these build up to be enough to really just stop this entire T1 force that's at your southern side. So I think that you overcommitted whenever you just started moving up north here towards Wednesday. And if you're going to be doing this pressure on Wednesday, you need to be pinging your ally and be like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Why am I fighting your battles? You want to continuously be pinging this. Continue to ping this. While you get units here, why are the rhinos not immediately going towards this? You have 4 rhinos. 4 rhinos can kill a lot of T1 tanks. Get them into the fight. You're losing mexes for no reason. This is, come on. I believe in you. You can do better. Got this. The Ilshava's coming down from blue, trying to help out with all of this, but this run-by did not need to happen. And you see your army up here? It's about to be completely destroyed, and now any reinforcements coming out from white or yellow are going to be putting you in a really difficult situation because, see, now there's units starting to push right here. You overcommitting up here led to both this run-by and the issue of having to try and defend this choke. Sure, right now you're going to defend it just fine because this is just a wave of scouts and a couple of tanks, but it's going to start to get bad. You can't continuously, you can't overcommit to things for absolutely no reason. You gained nothing by walking all the way up there except for losing your army because Wednesday outspammed you. The run-by was eventually cleaned up, which is, that's good. But yet again, you have to, in these moments where it's like, okay, something bad just happened, you have to step back. You have to think for just a second. It only takes 3 to 4 seconds of thinking. Think, what do I want to do? What do I want to have done in 5 minutes? And then ask what steps you need to take to make that happen. Do you want to be in 5 minutes at the 18-minute mark? Do you want to be at T3 land? Do you want to rush there? Then you need to take the steps. You need to get the eco up for that. Do you want to have just T2 land spam? Are you going to invest heavily into T2 land? Alright, then why are you getting a second T2 power? Because the second T2 power, you don't need a second T2 power to support more T2 land factory. You can support all 4 of these factories at T2 with one T2 power and the power you already built. So yeah, this is overbuilding power by a lot, and you need to have a plan for how to use it. And right now it doesn't seem. It seems you just built 2 T2 P-gens because you built two T2. You built them because that's just what you do. But generally you want to have a plan for that power, because 1,000 power overflow, I'm sure your teammates like it. I'm sure Blue is very happy with being able to spam T2 units without having with only having 1 T2 power generator. Actually, Nogthar, another patron, doing pretty alright. Both of you overflowing power, but you can see Nogthar, he had more of a purpose to the things he built as well. I'm just trying to show you things you can compare to. Show you things that you need to be thinking about. You need to be thinking about every single action you do in this game. And I got a lot of flack on this for asking, why are you doing this a lot in one of the previous replay reviews. The idea behind that is not to be condescending. I'm a bad player. It's meant to make you think, because a lot of FA is thinking and making decisions. None of this stuff is like, it's not super difficult mechanically. The difficult part of FA is thinking, the thinking portion. And the thing is, a lot of people just aren't thinking, myself included. So you just do things because that's what you do every game. But you need to ask yourself, why am I doing these things? And from there, that's how you start improving, because you'll start realizing how many things that if you sit here and say, okay, why am I building 2 T2 power generators? And if the answer is, I don't know, then you'll realize there's so many things that you're doing that you just don't have to do, that are just wastes, that could be something else. It's nice to have that extra power, but you don't need 1,000 extra power generation until way later in the game. So, yet again, there's just a lot of things you would change if you thought about it more. And this game seems to make me think you're not thinking about it as much as maybe you should. And then you can see over here, E3 land. You're seeing that one of your opponents has a bunch of Titans and is starting to pressure really heavily. your team doesn't seemingly have anything near that level of spam or production on this level that he has, so you have to now make a decision. You cannot commit to T2 because Titans kill your T2 units. I mean, not necessarily. Titans you can probably fight with Rhinos. You can definitely fight Titans with Rhinos if that won't go too horribly against you. There's an attack coming in up here, and yet again, you're over here committing all of your forces. You're the main bulk of your forces, and the question is why? Like, what are you achieving here? You killed maybe one T1 mechs, one T2 mechs, but you can't push here because there's as many Titans as you have Rhinos, and Titans cost more. Just do better than your Rhinos will. You're getting pressured over here on the north. Your ally Nogthar is trying to fight quite a bit of stuff going on up here, but you are falling behind. Your team is getting hemmed into a corner. I can't tell you what strategy to choose. That needs to be up to you, but you need to find things that you are comfortable with using that will allow you to dig yourself out of holes, because you're going to find yourself in situations almost identical to this very often. And whenever you watch those awesome casts I put out where people do comebacks and such, most of the time it's because somebody realized that their team was slipping and that they were falling behind, and they did something greedy, because doing something greedy is your only way back in. Committing to T2 isn't going to save you in this, but going T3 or going for some kind of experimental rush might. You are incredibly behind economically, so I think at this point the best option is to probably turtle a little bit. And I know that we're talking about turtling being bad all the time, but you are never going to be able to fight mass for mass with units, because you simply don't have the mass to fight mass for mass. You're the lowest eco player in the game by a large margin. The next closest person is your ally to the south as far as like fighting for the bottom. So you either need to take a supportive role or take an excessively greedy role right now. That's your role in the team right now. You need to play supportive or play super aggressive. So you either need to try and be a meat shield or something, or help out your allies who have more eco, or you need to get more eco yourself. I like sending your comm to the north to try and help out Nogthar, but Nogthar, he's going to have to fight through this absolutely ugly T1 spam that's not going to stop anything. A complete waste of mass, which maybe you're happy with that. Your ally has a strategic bomber out. That is one way your team could come back in this game right now. Your ally with strat bombers starting to cause a lot of damage to the opponent. I think that was a dead Max. Yeah, that was a strat bomb killing a Max. Maybe that's the only damage it's done so far, but it's going to hurt Wednesday a little bit. Down here to the south, your ally Gray has been defeated. It's full share. You either, right now, you're on Team Matchmaker, you realize you're behind, you should be asking for this base. You should ask for this base, because unless you are just completely not confident at all that you can manage it, right now your air player is doing great work. Your air player is beating the opponent by himself. If you ask for this base, you get this base, and you go full in on T3 land production, you can hold this off on your own. Or you can let your ally get it, and you yet again have to play a supportive role now. You can't, you just don't have a plan. And I know I've said this before, but what are you doing to win this game? Right now it just seems like you're playing to not lose. You're just trying not to die and not fall apart. But that's not a plan. That's just a, okay, I'm sitting here and I'm hoping the enemy just doesn't use their huge economic advantage. Your exact mirror opponent sitting on over 125 mass income. And he's also Cybern. There could be a Monkey Lord. For all you know, your opponent could build a Monkey Lord. And you're sitting here having trouble with affording 4 T2 factories. Or 3 T2 factories and a mechs upgrade. I do like sending all of the engineers and putting a lot of build power to creating T2 mexes, though. That's a pretty good call. And you do have a decent standing army, and you're turtling. As I said, you need to turtle a little bit. Just dissuade your opponents from pushing you while you get your eco up. But ecoing harder is where I would go here, or I would just go with what you're doing on the north side, which is playing a supportive role. You're doing what you should be doing right now, but you didn't need to be in this position in the first place. You could have very easily, with a few small changes and a few different decisions, and having a direction before you even start the game, you could have been in a position where you're not in this desperation play where you're just walking your gun comm next to Nogthar hoping you can help him out of any situation that may go bad for him. You could have been in a position that your opponent is in, that Splashy Horse is in. You could have been in a carry position. If you want to win, you have to try and think of yourself as a carry. You can't think of yourself as a supportive player, because supportive players don't decide games usually. And right now, you have such little influence on this game, and your entire goal is to have as much influence as possible. But, not to be completely negative, you have identified this. It's obvious that you've identified that, hey, I'm super behind. And you've decided, I know this means a lot. Like, it's just your comm, I know. It's just a comm with a gun and stealth upgrade. But you sending it up here just is that's you acknowledging that, okay, I fucked up, and I need to do something to help one of my teammates who's not having the same struggles, who's able to keep up. And nobody on your team is at T3 land, and that should be scaring you. You're going T3 land right now, but you can't afford it. Oh, never mind. Nogthar is T3. I didn't notice that. I thought he was still spamming Ilshivas. He might still be. That's something you see Seraphim players do, is they still have Ilshivas all the way through the game. Because Ilshivas are broken as fuck. Let's not beat around the bush. They outrange a lot of the T3 support bots, like the outrange Loyalists and Titans, which is crazy to think about, because range is such a premium in this game. But on top of outranging T3 bots, they have incredibly good health stat. They have a lot going for them. Sure, they're not as tanky, or they're more tanky than a Rhino. The only thing against them is they're expensive. Down here to the south, your ally is struggling with dealing with the land forces of red, and you're playing a supportive role and you're supporting Nogthar, but you also need to try and find a way to support Samuel down to the south. You have to try and be everywhere. Or you just sit in your base and you say fuck them, and you just try and eco up. You're going T3 land, but you cannot afford T3 land. You can maybe afford one factory producing T3 land units with some assistance, but you need more than just a few T2 mexes. You're sitting on 6 T2 mexes, and that's it. It's 20 minutes into the game. You could very easily have multiple. Even if you, whenever you started falling behind and just realized that you needed to play greedy, even after that run by where you got really fucked, that was when you needed to make a decision to play greedy or play supportive. You chose supportive, and personally I think playing greedy is the... You have your ally going for a strat snipe on to red. This could be super significant. Or wait, is it strat snipe onto red? Does he even know where red's comm is? Bit confusing on what I'm trying to get done here. You're just gonna use these as a defensive measure. You don't want to show 5 strat bombers on an engineer in a T or T1 lane. I don't know why I'm criticizing him. Alright, so you're done pushing up here. Probably just send the comm back, honestly. Send the comm back to your base. You don't need it on the front line anymore. It's past its time where it's going to be relevant. Your team isn't scouting, and I know that you don't have air forces, and you definitely can't afford them. And sorry again, everybody, I clicked out. You should be using your ping markers. I think it's F8 for the marker ping, and just spam ping to scout the bases. You want to know if your opponent is building a monkey lord or any experimental. Your opponent just finished a monkey lord. And this is the things you have to be thinking about. You have to be sitting here like, well, we're 23 minutes in. What if somebody shows up with a monkey lord on my flank right now? What happens? If the answer is you lose the game, well, you're going to want to fix that very quickly. Nogthar is showing up to try and help you with T3 land production, which is very nice of him, but you can't rely on this being a standard thing. And if you're on voice comms and he's talking to you and he does decide to help you, like this is a conscious decision, that is amazing. But gotta come up with a strategery, my friend. Also, your team needs to scout a bit more. Okay, this wasn't happening a minute ago, but your opponent starting to throw a bunch of scouts over you should have you worried. Right now, white is throwing scouts straight over your base. You gotta ask why. And you start a Monkey Lord, but you can't afford the Monkey Lord. Nogthar is probably going to help you build it, which Nogthar definitely can afford a Monkey Lord, and Samuel, if he gets involved, could too. It's just a really rough position, and wow, your T2 mechs got killed by a tactical missile, didn't it? Oh, that hurts. That real hurt. Where is that Monkey Lord? Oh, it's coming down to the south. Gonna try. I guess he's trying to get it supported by a bunch of the Titans, Percivals maybe that are out now. As though it's just Titans for now, which I guess that makes have a need for. All right. So your opponent has built a Monkey Lord. Who do you think has more influence on the game right now? Is it you or your mirror opponent? It's obvious. It's your mirror opponent. He's managed to do a little bit. He's just done a little bit more with the same position. I feel that a lot of that comes down to the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes, he had a much more clear direction than you have the entire game. And yet again, these are the things you have to think about. You have to think about what you want to do before you even start the match if you start racking up more victories than losses. The good news is that you've shown very good awareness of what your position in the game. You know that you're in a supportive position. You turtle up a little bit. You try and go for a Monkey Lord. You're going for a greedy kind of Hail Mary play. It's just unfortunate that you didn't have the eco to do this 5 minutes ago, whenever you could have if you just played way more greedy from the outset. A bunch of strat bombers coming in on the enemy Monkey Lord. Your ally having air control means that you at the very least do get to be pretty happy. Your Monkey Lord won't get, well, that done to it. It won't lose half of its health to strat bombers. You all just scouted red. I'd be surprised if your air player wasn't interested in on a snipe on red. Highest-rated enemy player. You could also be looking for snipes right now. Monkey Lord about to be done on this northern side. There's a bit of fighting going on between Nogthar and Wednesday. Overall, you're just in a position where this Monkey Lord is your play. You have to decide from here how you want to go forward with that. We're going to go ahead and speed up the game a little bit because the Monkey Lord is the play, and right now what we're going to do is we're going to judge your decisions with the Monkey Lord. Your opponent had a Monkey Lord down here. The fact you aren't sending the Monkey Lord to go try and deal with that is questionable to me. You are collapsing on this front. The Monkey Lord may be able to save you. I'm curious as to how you think this is going to go. There is a lot of gunships here. Maybe you think purple can just handle it, and maybe I do see a seed of logic in this. Nogthar has a strong army. Maybe you can win harder on this northern side than they will win on the southern side. But the problem with that logic is you are relying on your opponents doing something wrong. Because your opponents have shown they have the better army with the Monkey Lord and with their Monkey Lord and their Titans. It does seem as though you're going to try and push into the back line over here. You have a little bit of turtling, so you have a little bit of breathing room. with this Monkey Lord. I think attacking the Monkey Lord and making it stand here as long as possible is the call. But you're now getting attacked in the backline. The air player that's been helping you out so much is going to be failing. You transfer the Monkey Lord over to Nogthar, which I think is a good call. Nogthar can manage that attack on his own, and you can focus on defense. But one brick now coming out, that's not going to fight this many Titans. Samuel needs to continue to use his scrap bombers. You need to just focus on the defense over here. I think that instead of building units, you should have all these T3 engineers just building point defense. The Monkey Lord is still alive, and the Monkey Lord is still a threat, and you all are in huge danger. Your ally over here died. You need to keep your comm alive. You need to run away, because your hope right now is that the forces over here can kill off... Oh, no. Wait, you just lose the game, don't you? You sent it a loss? Oh my god, I have so much more respect for you. You have so much more respect for you. You don't win this, do you? Where's the Monkey Lord? Why did the Monkey Lord... There's no way the Monkey Lord died already. No, that's the same Monkey Lord, isn't it? Oh, it is. Okay. Well, it was given to red? Interesting. Alright, so your base is under attack. At this point, the game's already been decided. Wait. Okay, your opponent just fluffing about with the Monkey Lord is silly. Nogthar is gonna make a big brain... Oh no, Nogthar's dead. Are you gonna come in and try and overcharge the Monkey Lord that just... No. Okay, you sent in a loss, which you're the first person to send in a loss for their replay review, which is admirable. It is admirable, because this shows a want to improve is sending in a... Shows more than somebody who sends it. So, what do we take away from this game, and what's kind of like a homework assignment for you? For your next 10 games, I want you to make a decision before the game and stick with it. I want you to decide on one of these three things. Disregard this if you're in the air position. If you're in the land or naval position, are you going for land spam, a T2 tech rush, or land spam / map control play, a tech rush, or an eco rush? Just choose one. You want an eco whore? That's fine. You still need to get to the eco whoring does not mean T1 units. And also, I want you to watch your replay and watch your mirror opponent, because it seems you play more team games. If your mirror opponent just seemingly has more than you, the next time you play that map, just copy them. Because you need to come into these games with some direction, and some decisions made before you start. Play a lane spam thing, try and win early, try and win in those first 15 minutes. If you win against your opponent, you get a kill or whatever, great. Once you get a kill, you can play super greedy. If you've fallen behind, don't bother trying to keep up in the unit spam game. You're going to spam less units, and they're going to be worse units generally. Play greedy and try and get ahead technologically, or try and get on the same economic level. And overall, just try and think about why you're doing things and why you're building things and what is your goal. And come up with a goal. And your goal should be, I want X, and whatever X is should be a tool to help you win. I want T3 land spam, and I want to focus on T3 land spam, and I want to use T3 land spam game from, like, you say that at, like, 17 minutes, and you're like, okay, that's what I'm doing now. Focus on that, and make every action towards that. Be decisive, make decisions, and commit to them, and you'll do better. Sometimes you'll commit to it, and you'll just lose, because it was the wrong decision. But then you stop having the issue of being indecisive, and you start having the issue of making the wrong decisions. Easier thing to fix, because I can tell you can, the more experience you have, the easier it is to identify what the right decision will be. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to the patrons and the channel members who make this series possible. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.